how to increase business-to-business sales. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. So how do you increase business-to-business sales? And that is pretty much my realm. That's where I've been in most of my career for sales. I have done business-to-consumer, but by and large, that's where I've been, is business-to-business. And a lot of organizations ask me after my keynotes and my trainings, how do I increase my business-to-business revenue or sales? And that's what we want to talk about now. And there's three main areas we're going to. So the very first thing is we have to execute. What we need to do is execute on what we say we're going to do. If a customer says, I need 100 of these things all year round, 10 a month or whatever it is, we need to deliver 10 a month or whatever that schedule looks like. And we need to communicate. That's right. Most organizations with the customer service teams, they wait until the customer has hounded them with multiple emails, phone calls, escalation, and we need to make sure that we're communicating and executing correctly. That is the number one thing we have to do. We have to execute. Now, the sales team can go out there and sell something, but the operations team needs to come in and execute their job at high levels. Okay. The second thing we need to do is be consistent. Yeah, it's called being like Chick-fil-A. That's what I tell people. You have to be like Chick-fil-A. It doesn't matter which place you go to, you're gonna get that Chick-fil-A goodness in your hand to eat. And you need to be consistent with your product and service and your execution, because that's what people come back to. They want that consistency. Yeah, they're willing to pay more. I've actually had customers say, I'll pay more if you guys are more consistent and execute. So we need to be consistent. That is why, even with tons of different chicken sandwich places around, people will still sit in lines on Monday through Saturday to get Chick-fil-A. It's consistent food. It's not exceptional. It's not the world-class food tastes. It's good food, but it's consistently delivered at any location you go to. And that's what we need to be in our businesses. Consistent with our communication, how we execute, and how we present ourselves. The third thing we need to do, and it's a law that I put out there, is undercommit, overproduce. Most salespeople are often considered to be liars because they overcommit and underproduce. Not intentionally in most cases, but it's because the sales team says, yes, we're going to meet this demand, we've done our studies, we can do this. And then the operations team tries to rationalize poor performance because they don't execute consistently. See how all these things kind of go back to the first two laws? We need to be executing. And a lot of times the salesperson's held out there of, well, you're lying to me because you're not delivering what you said you could do. And so what I typically do is undercommit, overproduce. That's right. And it's pretty simple, and I learned it in program management classes that I've taken. Basically, you have, here's your deadlines, right? Well, you also make sure that you add a little bit of fluff to those deadlines. Just a little bit. They call it float in program manager language. But you have a little bit of fluff. So when I know that my team's going to execute, say, in 6 months, I'll add a little bit buffer. Because here's what happens. When we over-communicate or over-commit and under-deliver, what we call liars. But when we undercommit and over-deliver, we look like rock stars to our customer. Trust goes through the roof, and we have more influence with them. So we need to undercommit, overproduce. Not to say that we just never commit to anything, or we say, well, this project will take 6 months, and we're going to add like 3 or 4 more months to it. That's not going to fly. We need to understand what our teams do and how they typically execute, so we can add that little bit of fluff there so when we come in, we actually execute. And here's the other benefit. When we actually hit the date that we've told, well, now we're consistent and people go, okay, well, they delivered like they said they would do, and they keep going on, and that consistency is still there. So we need to be executing, we need to be consistent, and we need to undercommit, overproduce if we want to be successful in growing our business to business sales. Now, if you have any questions about that or the sales process like the book I wrote, please reach out. My contact information is below. If this video was helpful, hit like, share, subscribe, send to somebody you think it might benefit. That's why I do these videos, to help you. We'll see you next time.